How's it going, you guys? The time has changed, which makes the mornings feel a little bit longer, but it's going to mean that I'm gonna have to get out here and film early mornings now. So, so I'm out here filming, and I need to do some cleanup, but I just noticed some activity in this bed. We're gonna see what this is all about. I was filming a video for Instagram, and I noticed that my columbine right here was literally shaking. And I was like, what is happening? I thought there might have been a mouse over here. And I came over here, and somebody was eating the roots off of my plant. I'm gonna have to put something down that hole. Oh my gosh, that is so annoying. Okay, so Brent went to the store and they weren't open because of the time change thing, which is already throwing us all off. So we're gonna get some like smoke bomb things that go in the like gopher hole, and it like, you know, makes them no longer a problem, but they weren't open. So I'm gonna do some cleanup around the garden today. I'm gonna pull out these super petunias right here. These are the silverberries. They've performed really, really well. But this bed is just looking messy right now. Like I need to pull that plant out. I mean, cut it back, and I just need to like do some general cleanup. Like the anemones right over there, they're done blooming. The lilies are done blooming. I need to cut those back. We're gonna come over to the long straight bed, and we're gonna cut back the hibiscus that we have. This is the summerific, I can't remember which variety, but it's by Proven Winners, and we're gonna cut this back, and we're gonna do a lot of cutting back of plants today. That way it's not so messy. So I'm gonna get some big pruners and do some cutting back. Also wanted to show you guys what Brent did. So we come into the veggie garden. I'm sure you can see it. Look at, he painted the inside of the chicken coop all black. The girls now disappear. But he painted the inside of the coop black. Obviously we haven't done the fence out here because you guys know we still need to do it. But that is all painted. It looks so much better now. It's so nice to have that done. Except look how dusty the top rail is. And then he also painted one more area, which you guys can see right now. Let's head over this way. Look, he painted the back wall of the aviary. So you guys can see there's still right down there a little bit of the wire that's still needing to be painted. So if you guys remembered, so we painted the wire here black, and it's held up really great. On the back wall back there, there's also wire, and so it's like 4 inches away from the fence, and so it made it really hard to be able to paint it. So you guys can see, I mean, it's kind of like splotchy, but it's painted. But the wire down below didn't get painted yet. It's just, there's wire there, and so you can't actually reach the fence boards out of there. So we had to use the sprayer. Everyone kept saying, just roll the back of the aviary, roll the back of the aviary. We couldn't roll the back of the aviary because there's wire. And we couldn't take the wire off without having some of the birds fly away. So we sprayed it. Brent got it sprayed. It looks so much better, and he'll go in and do touch-ups with a roller on some of the black wire or some of the wire that's still a little silver that needs to be painted. So he'll do the touch-ups on that, but it looks so much better in there now. It doesn't look like a random like fence colored spot. So let's go ahead and do some cleanup now in the beds. Just some small things around the back area, and then one area, the front pots that have the arborvitae in them, I need to go and clean those up. I bought those like wave petunias, and you guys, I was not a fan of them. They did not perform the way that I really thought that they should have performed. I don't know if you guys have grown them. Maybe it's because I grew them in a container. I probably realistically won't be buying the wave petunias anymore. And then it sucks because they sell them in abundance at the Home Depot and Lowe's in my area. And you guys know it's so hard to find the Super Petunia anything Proven Winners in my area. So I was hoping that the waves worked, but I would get like a really quick little show of blooms, and then they'd fizzle out. And then I'd get like a little quick show, and they would last like 2 or 3 days. And sometimes the blooms had spots on them. The bugs really went after them. And right now, all of my Proven Winner Super Petunias look great. They still have all their foliage and everything, but those ones in the pots are like crispy and brown looking. So I don't know I don't know. We're gonna clean them up. Okay, we got the driveway right here pretty much done, except for one little piece of Bermuda grass. I could not get it out. And we got those front containers done and this front bed done, which had a bunch of osteospermum popping up. There was a bunch of little seedlings that came up everywhere in that bed. So I got those all pulled, and the loropetalum that Janie bought me, you guys, is changing colors. Look at the fall color I'm getting on this. I didn't even know that it did fall color, so that is so exciting. I can't wait for this to turn into a little fireball right there. And then those pots are cleaned up, and you guys saw, I mean, they looked rough. Yeah, they weren't good. And then I noticed that there was a bunch of seeds that were like sticking on the pods. So I think next year I'm gonna end up dealing with a bunch of seedlings coming up right there, which is kind of frustrating. Also, my maple tree is starting to color up. So that's really exciting. First year that it's actually doing something. And we're getting some really pretty color. It's finally starting. So that's super exciting. These guys are still going strong, and there's so many bees on here. So these guys continue. As long as they continue to bloom, they can stay. And then we got most of the driveway done in this area, except for this little area right here. I need to have Brent come out with a shovel and have him dig out the grass that's right there. It's Bermuda grass, and I can't pull it with my hands, so I'm gonna have him come out with a shovel and just dig it out to try to get all the rhizomes out. So we're gonna go to the backyard. Do you guys remember a couple weeks ago when I told you guys that we had a kale plant that we've had for like 4 years? Here it is. I thought we pulled it, but what it was one kale plant, and then I cut it off, and I had used it in a flower arrangement, and then it set up all these little side shoots. They're covered in snail trackings or snail marks. Let's move to the shade really quick. But look, this one kale, this is an old branch. Look at, I actually see a praying mantis sack here. So I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna set this one somewhere else. But I just thought it was cool because it sent up a whole bunch of florets, and I ended up actually using this in multiple flower arrangements. I would come back here and I would cut on this one. I thought that we had pulled it, so kind of surprised that we didn't. Let's I'm gonna cut the top of this off really quick. And I'm gonna cut this off down here too. I'm gonna leave this somewhere. I do enjoy having the praying mantis, as long as they're not the invasive species. I'm sure I'm gonna get some comments saying they eat hummingbirds. Well, they really, only the invasive species does eat hummingbirds, and I'm not able to identify which ones are and which ones are not the invasive species, so I leave them. I'd rather have them in my garden because the ones that are beneficial do eat the bugs that I don't want in my garden. So I'm gonna put this little praying mantis sack, which if you've never seen what they look like, let me see if I can turn the camera around. If you've never seen what they look like, this is kind of what they look like. So if you see that, it's not anything bad, unless you really don't want praying mantis. But I can't identify good and bad, so I leave this, and I'm gonna just put this in a flower bed. Okay, well, we've done most of the cleanup. I still have this bed to do, which I'm gonna pull the Japanese anemones and the lily leaves, which I'm just gonna cut the Japanese anemone blooms off. I don't want them to go to seed and kind of take over everywhere. They're little like puffy blooms and they go everywhere. So I'm gonna cut those bloom spikes back, and I'm gonna cut back the lilies, which are right there. And I think I'm ready to cut those coleus back too. I also would like to do some maintenance on the vitex tree. We'll see if I'm ready to mentally tackle that though. Okay, I cannot believe we got that all done. I ended up having to recruit Brent to help with the last bit of the cleanup. We filled up 2 green waste bins and the pop-up bin. I just kind of blacked out and started pulling things that just had to go. Things needed to go. So let me turn the camera around and show you guys where everything sits. There's still a lot of things that do need to be done. I mean, you guys know this entire side of the property had been neglected all of the entire growing season. So there's a lot of weeds in there, and there's a lot of things that just kind of got ignored. So it's not perfect, and obviously it's the end of the season, so it doesn't even matter. So let me turn the camera around and show you guys how everything sits as it is. Okay, so look at this is our watering system. You guys know we don't actually have irrigation here in the lawn, and that's look at, that's all the Bermuda grass, and it dies and turns brown. But we try to get grass to grow over the winter, so I'm gonna reseed and continue to try to get the grass to take over it and kind of smother out some of the Bermuda grass, so that way winter doesn't look like that. So we can finally reach this. We couldn't reach this before. This runs to all of our little sprinklers right here, which I mean, we just don't have irrigation, so it's fine. But I got this area cleaned up, got the coleus pulled, got this whole area pulled. I need to deal with this hose. This hose needs to be done. This actually runs all the way back around and over to the hose link. So I need to buy just a shorter hose, honestly. But whatever. This is all done. The calla lilies are cleaned up. The Japanese anemone is cleaned up a ton. It was actually starting to grow all the way out here. but that's okay. I ended up just pulling those guys, no problem. I need to come over here. I'm gonna dig, these are 2 Shasta daisies, and I'm gonna dig them out. The last couple years, they've just been like super infested with aphids, and so it's just not worth it to me anymore. And plus it's like covered in Bermuda grass right now. So I'm just gonna dig those out sometime soon, maybe. I've got a hydrangea back here. Look at this one branch that shot up. I kind of forgot that I planted it back here. We got all of this cleaned up, and then this bed right here is totally cleaned up. So this is really nice. I can feel like I can breathe again. I mean, you can see all the drip tubing, but I don't really care. I did leave these. They were the ones that made me want to come out here and start pulling everything. And then I started pulling everything but them. They're just full of blooms, and I still see like buds coming on them. So I'm having a hard time pulling them. So as we get colder, I will pull these. But for now, I couldn't do it. So they're staying. But this all looks really, really good. I'm so happy that it's like cleaned up. All the weeds are pulled. We still haven't taken care of the gopher, mole, whatever it is, quite yet. And then if we turn, oh my gosh, please, sorry, don't get sick. If we come over to this side, so I came over here and I cleaned up kind of this area. It needed some cleanup. I am gonna pull out right here. This is the orchid rock rose. If I had all the room in the world, I would definitely be growing it. It's really pretty in the springtime when it flowers, but it doesn't flower for very long, and it is kind of a sticky plant. But it's really, really pretty, and I do love it, but not for this space. So this is gonna get pulled. I have asparagus growing back behind it, like legit asparagus, but I let it go to flower or to seed, and so this is what it does. And it didn't flower, which is kind of funny, but usually it gets little red berries on it, but it didn't this year. I do use these in flower arrangements, and they're really, really pretty in flower arrangements because they kind of like drape down. But I have asparagus back behind there. That's like 3-year-old asparagus. Cleaned up back there. I had some snapdragons. And then over here, cleaned up this area where I had some Rebecca. I had a couple New Zealand flax tucked back there. I just pulled those. I didn't love them, so they had to go. And then cleaned up just all of the little annuals that I had tucked in around here. And it's just feeling cleaner. Really feels like I can like come back here and breathe in this bed. And just to give you guys kind of like a little teaser for what I'm thinking, it's not set in stone, but what I'm thinking is this grass right here, I think it's called like Carl Foster's. My plan for next year is to do espalier apple, Carl Foster, espalier apple, Carl Foster, espalier apple, Carl Foster, and have the back fence lined with like alternating between the two. I think that that's gonna be so pretty. And then I'll go in on the bottom on the ground with like a whole bunch of annuals, and then I want to get some type of border along the front. That is just a sneak peek for next year's plan. But I really love this grass. It's so pretty. It's pretty in the springtime. It's so pretty in the fall. I love these tassels. I actually use these in a ton of flower arrangements, and I just think they're so soft and so pretty. I really, really love them, and it just produces them for us like a very, very long time. So I would love to have a whole bunch of those on the property. I love the way grasses look. And then we got this area cleaned up. I do have this endless summer hydrangea. It's looking fine, but it gets a little too much sun right here, but I'm still not going to move it. Well, I'm going to move it by next year. It's got to be moved. But I think Ashley wants it, so it's probably going to go over to her house. Cleaned up back there. You guys saw that spruce that we had here. I was so sad when that thing died, but this tree is, we had a problem with aphids. We don't have a problem with aphids anymore. I did take care of it, but it did a lot of damage to a lot of plants down here. But a lot of things did have time to recover. Like right here, this is all the diamond snow euphorbia that I just kind of had like in a little drift. I had a few more, I think, but they just like succumbed to the honeydew. But they're so pretty, and I love it. I would love to do like, you know what would be actually really pretty is if I did Carl Foster's, the espalier, and filled in the whole ground with the diamond snow euphorbia. That might be on the docket for next year. Anyways, we got it all cleaned up. I mean, there's a giant hole right there, and there's a couple holes right in there, but that's okay. It always feels so nice when you get the yard work done. It's a little bit windy now. The storm is still coming in, but it's okay. It feels really nice out here. I'm so happy to get everything cleaned up and start making progress towards fall time. So, I mean, we still have quite a ways until we even get our first frost. Usually it's like the end of this month before we even see a frost of like 32 degrees. So we have plenty enough time in our growing zone. So I think that is gonna be it for this video. It's the end of the day. Look at this Dusty Miller patch right here. I'm gonna grow Dusty Miller again next year, not in the lawn. That is gonna be it for this video, guys. I will see you all in the next one. Bye, guys.